Writer's block usually hits the moment you sit down to stare at a blank page, but that paralysis happens because you are trying to build a house before you have laid down the foundation. By the end of this video, you will have a color-coded structural roadmap. This plan identifies exactly what you need from your sources and where your own ideas fit in before you write a single paragraph. Before we map out a single point, you must complete your preliminary research. You need to know your source material thoroughly, and you must have already developed a working thesis statement. Skipping these steps leaves you without load-bearing beams to support your arguments later. The architecture of your paper will inevitably collapse under its own weight. Step 1. Open a blank document and write your thesis at the very top. Edit this down to its absolute shortest, most concise form. You need a single debatable sentence. Although happiness is influenced by genetics, it is still largely a matter of choice. Do not outsource this step to generative AI. Generative AI is a category of artificial intelligence that creates new content, such as text or images, by identifying patterns in existing data. Algorithms are programmed to be pleasing to the user, so they often strip away the friction required for a good debate, leaving you with a safe, convoluted compromise instead of a sharp stance. Directly below your thesis, start a list. Brainstorm the immediate objections an opponent would raise against your claim. Jot down the necessary concessions you have to make and any questions a reader might ask. Think about where your argument is weak. Are there obvious exceptions to your rule? Are there gaps in your research that opponents will point out? Capturing these specific vulnerabilities right now allows you to build defensive counterarguments natively into the paper's architecture from day one. Next, we establish the topic sentences. Treat these like mini debates. Each topic sentence must individually prove a specific fraction of your overall thesis. If your main thesis argues that happiness is a choice, that core concept must echo down. The word choice, or a direct synonym, needs to physically appear in almost every single topic sentence you write. This shows a common flaw. Students routinely assign one source per section. Roman numeral 1 is source A, and Roman numeral 2 is source B. Instead, organize point by point. A single point should pull from multiple sources simultaneously to synthesize a complete idea. Underneath each topic sentence, extract the highly specific evidence you need. Pull the exact raw data, pull case studies, or precise facts you will use to prove that specific claim. For narrative evidence, pull the stories intact. Specific anecdotes, like those drawn from conversations with the Dalai Lama, need to be kept whole in your outline to maintain their persuasive power. Intellectual arguments are built on the points you make, not the sources you hold. The sources simply provide the raw materials you use to build your logic. Now we use a specific color coding technique to enforce a visual feedback loop, measuring your original thought against your sourced facts. Format all of your external evidence in standard black text. That includes paraphrased information, raw data, and any direct quotes. Then, switch your font color to blue. Use blue text exclusively for your own analysis, your connective logic, and your counterarguments. This graphic shows the target ratio for a healthy paper. You want the visual layout on the page to be approximately 40% black text, surrounded by 60% blue text. You can use an AI tool here, but strictly as a sparring partner. Feed it your color-coded outline and ask it to spot analytical gaps, rather than asking it to generate text. Warning tone. Offloading the cognitive work leaves you stranded. If you don't do the heavy lifting now, you will be unable to organically defend these points during the drafting phase. Visually dominating the page with your own blue analysis proves you are actively driving the argument, not just passively summarizing the work of others. You now have a complete structural flow. You can trace a direct path from a heavily tested core thesis, down through the topic sentences, straight to the granular black and blue evidence pairing. Drafting from a blank page is a process of simultaneous invention and arrangement. With this blueprint, the invention is already done, leaving you to focus entirely on the assembly of the text. Step away from the completed outline for a bit. Gain some fresh perspective before you officially sit down to write the paper. This rigorous, point-by-point architecture front-loads the difficult thinking. By the time you start your first draft, you aren't searching for what to say. You're following a roadmap you've already verified.